What's going on, car family? I'm Ben Wayne. Thank you for joining me in another video. Today, we're here to take a look at what is considered an absolute beast by anyone's standards. This is the 2021 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat Redeye Widebody. That is a long name, but that is the official name of this vehicle. And before we get started, I want to give a special thanks to Kimberly and Claire of the SCA group for sending this vehicle over. I truly appreciate the opportunity. So what exactly is this vehicle? This is a vehicle that you have to respect when you're behind the wheel. You have to be honest with yourself when it comes to your driving skills, because if you don't respect this vehicle, it will truly disrespect you in the harshest way possible. This vehicle has 797 horsepower because somebody at FCA thought that the standard Dodge Charger Hellcat with 717 horsepower wasn't enough horsepower. So they said, you know what? We're gonna throw 80 more horsepower on top of that. And that's what's gonna get you this Redeye model. Absolutely crazy amounts of power. So this particular spec, I'm loving it. I love when they send me specs that jump out at you like this. This color is called indigo blue, and the interior is finished in a demonic red. It really provides an overall high contrast. So today, I want to get into the exterior and interior details of this Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat Redeye Widebody, which is based off the 7th generation Dodge Charger, and see how this ride has been engineered for excellence. So I want to start off this review by talking about the front of the vehicle, more particularly the hood, the power plant, and then the overall styling. So coming over to the hood, you'll notice you have this large functional intake. That's going to channel air directly into your cold air intake, which is located underneath the hood, of course. You also have dual heat extractors to help pull that hot air from inside of the vehicle. So we're going to get that hot air out to increase overall performance. Now, underneath the hood, you have a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. That's going to put out 797 horsepower, 707 pound-feet of torque. It's connected to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Your 0 to 60 time is going to be around 3.6 seconds. This vehicle has a top speed of 203 miles per hour, and your quarter mile time is just 10.6 seconds. So those are some insane figures for this vehicle. How is it getting so much raw power out of that power plant? Well, at the beginning, you notice I mentioned this is a supercharged vehicle. So how does the supercharger work? Well, if you want to get more power out of an engine, you have to be able to burn more fuel during the combustion cycle, right? But you can only burn more fuel if there's oxygen in there with the fuel. So that supercharger is going to help pull air into that combustion chamber, allowing you to burn more fuel, getting you a lot more raw power out of this 6.2 liter power plant. So the Hellcat Redeye supercharger is 2.7 liters, replacing the 2.4 liters of the standard Hellcat. So you're going up. So your boost pressure is going from 11.6 PSI to 14.5 PSI. And that is why you're getting so much crazy power out of this vehicle. Now, there are quite a few changes from your standard Hellcat to your Hellcat Redeye. So first of all, your red line has been increased from 6,200 RPM to 6,500 RPM. Now, I mentioned that to get more power, you have to burn more fuel. So you're also getting dual stage fuel pumps as well. In addition to that, you have stronger engine internals, such as your pistons and your rods. And of course, there's also an improved oiling capability and a revised valve train. So all that talk on how this 6.2 liter supercharged V8 develops tons of power is great, but there's a major downside to it. What is that downside? That downside is heat. This power plant develops massive amounts of heat. So how did FCA deal with that? Well, they dealt with it in a passive way and an active way. We all know that heat essentially robs us of power, but I want to talk to you about how. And to have that discussion, we have to have a light discussion on thermodynamics, which is essentially the science of relations of heat between other forms of energy, be it mechanical, electrical, or chemical. So after running this car, when you open the hood, you'll notice you have tons of hot air. So when you have hot air, that means the air molecules have absorbed the energy in the form of heat, causing the molecules to expand. Now, the opposite can be said when it comes to cold air. When it comes to cold air, the molecules have absorbed less energy, meaning that the molecules are closer together, making cold air more dense, meaning that there's more oxygen per unit area of cold air than compared to hot air. That's why these performance cars love to run in cooler conditions. The cooler the air, the more performance you're going to get out of it. So how did Dodge deal with removing all the heat from underneath this hood? So first of all, you have this performance hood that features the cold air intake we mentioned, and then the dual heat extractors to help pull that heat out as well. You also have this mail slot grill that is taking cold air in as well. Now, there's also an active way that they're dealing with removing the hot air from underneath the hood, and that brings me to the SRT chiller. The SRT power chiller essentially takes your air conditioning system, and instead of cooling the cabin, it's going to cool your intake air. Now, it does this by using an evaporator that's plugged into the air to liquid intercooler. It's able to drop temperatures of your intake air by up to 45 degrees, allowing this 6.2 liter supercharged V8 to generate more power. Now, coming towards the design, of course, you have LED daytime running lamps, and of course, that mail slot grill up front with aggressive functional vents all below. I love how angry this car looks from the front. Let's go ahead and check out the side profile. When it comes to the side profile of the Charger Redeye Widebody, the first thing that you're going to notice are these huge fender flares. They're adding 3.5 inches to your overall track, and that truly helps with the vehicle's handling. Now, of course, you're getting massive 20-inch wheels. These are your Warp Speed granite wheels that have been shot in Pirelli P0s. This is an all-season tire that comes standard with this vehicle. I'm a little shocked that FCA went with the all-season tire. Summer tires are available with an additional $695. Let me tell you, spend the money. When it comes to traction, this 797 horsepower vehicle needs all the help that it can get. Your brake rotors up front are 15.7 inches in diameter, grasped by 6-piston Brembo calipers. They're 2-piece rotors, ventilated of course. When it comes to the rear, your brake rotors are 13.8 inches in diameter and grasped by 4-piston calipers. Now, one thing you might have noticed is the calipers are finished in bright red and say SRT on them. I think that looks really nice, really adds to the overall aggressive look of this vehicle. Now, coming behind this front wheel, you'll notice you have the Hellcat emblem that actually has a red eye in the cat. I think that's a nice touch. And of course, your typical indentations of a Dodge Charger, with this line going all the way to the hip line of the vehicle. But I love how this car just looks aggressive from the front, and definitely looks aggressive from the side profile with these huge wheel flares. Let's go ahead and check out the rear. When it comes to the back of the Charger, I've always admired how easy it is to identify a Charger from hundreds of feet away just by looking at the tail lamps. The LED tail lamp goes the full width of the vehicle, really pronounces the overall width of this car. I really like that a lot. Now, coming over to the trunk lid, you'll notice you have a revised trunk lid spoiler. That provides an additional 40% more downforce when compared to models of previous years. Now, coming lower, you do have functional vents on the bumper, and then below you have a simple diffuser with a dual exhaust system. Now, let's go ahead and hear how that dual exhaust sounds. When it comes to the interior, the first thing that you're going to notice, of course, is the demonic red leather. You have demonic red leather on the seats and of course on all the doors as well. It looks really nice, and I love the way it goes with the indigo blue exterior. Now, the seats are particularly comfortable. They're really soft. They almost feel more like a couch as opposed to what you would find in a race car. So that's interesting. Now, of course, they feature 3 levels of heating and cooling and some aggressive side bolstering as well, and then SRT branding as well. Now, the ceiling is done in Alcantara. That's a nice touch. And then coming over to the dash, it's done in injected molded soft touch material with contrast stitching. Now, coming lower, you do have an 8.4-inch touchscreen display, and there's so many options to go through here. It's not even funny. Between your SRT settings for track, sport, and custom settings, there's so much information that can be found in this system. It's really nice. I do wish it was a little bit wider, but of course, this is a vehicle that's been out for around 10 years or so, so I'm expecting in the next generation, we'll probably see something better. Coming lower, you do have hard touch buttons for your SRT, your launch, your parking sensors, your traction control. So you're not just confined to using this touchscreen here. Again, that's a nice touch. And of course, hard touch buttons for your air conditioning system as well. Now, there is some storage below on the center console, but there isn't any wireless charging or anything like that. Like I said, this is like a 10-year-old platform, so it's gonna be missing some things, some traditional creature comforts that we see in other vehicles of the same price point. But the thing about that is, people who buy this car don't really care. You're getting 797 horsepower for around $80,000, depending on how this is optioned. That is the main priority of this vehicle, is to go fast. So if it's missing things like a wireless charger or it doesn't have the largest infotainment screen, the people going after this car don't really care at all. Now, of course, coming lower in the center console, it's done in carbon fiber. You also have carbon fiber on the dash as well. I think that's a nice touch. You have 2 cup holders and then some additional storage with a 12-volt power outlet as well. Now, the steering wheel feels fairly large. There is some plastic on the bottom of the steering wheel. I do wish they did that in that matte carbon that you find throughout the vehicle as well. There is contrast stitching, and then there's some shift paddles behind the steering wheel in case you want to drive in manual mode as well. Now, the instrument cluster is done with 2 red analog gauges and a digital screen in the center. I wish it was fully digital, but again, the people going after this vehicle probably don't care about that either. Again, it's about that 797 horsepower, honestly. Now, coming over to the door panels, they're done in black with contrast stitching, and then you have that demonic red leather, and then buttons for all 4 windows and side view mirrors, and of course, some storage on the bottom of the door as well. Let's go ahead and check out the rear. Now, when it comes to the back, I must admit, the seats are a lot more comfortable than I thought they would be. They are just really padded. It's amazing how much padding went into these seats back here. Again, covered in that beautiful demonic red leather. They do feature 2 levels of heating. I do wish they did have ventilated seats back here, but again, the people buying this car probably don't care about that, so that's fine. You also have 2 USB ports back here as well. And then of course, the door panels are covered in that demonic red leather as well, with storage on the bottom of the door. But overall, it is comfortable back here, a little bit more comfortable than I thought it would be for a performance vehicle. So with all that being said, let me go ahead and hop behind the steering wheel and take the Redeye out in the street and see how it performs. All right, so we got this Hellcat Redeye on the street, and first impressions is I hear nothing but power from that engine up front, especially with the whine from the supercharger. But overall, the ride is fairly smooth, I will say that. Isha, what do you think? What was your first thoughts when you saw this car?
Oh, I loved it. I was like, yes. From the color on the outside to the red interior on the inside.
Right.
It's definitely not expected.
Right, so the interior is nice. I do like the red leather. Like I said, they're not using the highest quality materials because this is a car that's for something else. The people buying this aren't really concerned with, the latest screen and the highest quality backup camera. This car is about power, right, Isha? So this is a car people can take to the track and drive on a daily basis. So it has the practicality of a 4-door sedan, but if you want to go fast, you can do that as well. So hold on to your butts.
Okay. Jeez.
It's a lot of power, right?
Yeah, it is. What's 0 to what? What is it?
So 0 to 60s in about 3.6 seconds with this.
Yeah, I felt that.
A little too much, huh?
Woo.
So it gets up and goes, and you have to really be careful with this car because
careful.
With the power that it's putting out, if you floor it from standstill and you don't know what you're doing, you could find yourself in serious trouble. It can't put down all the power, right? It can't put down all the power if you floor it. One, like I said, as standard, these come with all season tires, not even summer tires, right? So this really needs the summer tires. 2, you really got to consider the road and tire temperature, right? Because you're not going to be able to hook up if it's cold and you're on the wrong types of tires. So this would really only see that 10.6 quarter mile in situations that are perfect road conditions, which would be at a drag strip, right? So people would take these to a drag strip or a racetrack, and that's where you can really play around a little bit more with this vehicle. Otherwise, you really have to take it easy because you could be in 3rd gear and floor it and still spin on the tires. So you have to be really careful.
I don't need to do any of that.
Right. You really got to know what you're doing when it comes to something like this and know your limits. You know, have you been to driving school? Stuff like that. So don't just buy one of these and not respect the car because it gets up and goes, right?
Yeah, it does.
That's an easy gradual acceleration.
That was easy?
Yeah, that was easy, right? So like if I went, yeah, that's an easy pull,
okay.
Right? So that's a pull in fourth gear. But if you downshift it and do the same thing, you know, you'll get different results. So it really just, you got to be conscious of what you're doing in something like this, honestly. So I did notice while you're riding in this car, there is a lot of drone, and that's, you know, that noise in the background you hear from the engine consistently.
Yeah.
So that's something to take into account. Like long road trips, I would not want to be the person to take this out on a long road trip because that drone would get to me eventually.
Overall, though, it's comfortable. It's not a lot of road noise. It definitely goes fast. The vehicle itself feels about medium weight, and I say that because some of the vehicles we've been in are very heavy.
You can feel the weight.
Yeah. This doesn't feel so bad.
It's not the lightest car, but
it's not. I can tell that.
The power in this thing is and the brakes really just grab on. You got Brembo 6-piston brakes up front, 4-piston brakes in the back. It really just keeps all that power in check.
Yeah, I'm on a roller coaster today.
You were holding on at two places. But I mean, I see why people are so captivated by these cars because you're getting 800 horsepower at an affordable price point.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I really don't know if any other car is putting out. I don't know if anybody else is doing what Dodge is doing right now. I mean,
without it being like a super sports car, like a Ferrari, Lamborghini, something like that.
Right.
Which
Now,
are unaffordable.
Right. But you know, this doesn't have the handling that those cars have.
No.
A lot of people like to knock these cars and say they don't have any handling whatsoever. They do have handling. You just have to
know what you're doing.
You got to know what you're doing. You got to be very skilled. And again, the right tires, the right setup and everything. This is rear wheel drive. So the second you dump your foot on that accelerator, the bottom's going to spin out on you. It's not all wheel drive, right? And that's what gets people caught up. You go to YouTube, you see a lot of people accelerating into a turn like this one that we're taking, and they end up, the bottom slips out from underneath them and they end up spinning out.
Ooh. And
it's like ultra embarrassing because it says, hey, I have money, but
I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. So
yeah, when you see people who wreck sports cars, it's kind of like, dude, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Seriously, you buy something like that and you better know what you're doing.
Right, and they got driving schools and stuff for vehicles like this. So I'd say I'd strongly encourage anybody who's willing to really push this car to look into stuff like that if you haven't already. But I'm in love with the color of this thing. The indigo blue, like sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's purple.
Yeah,
I really like that.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Right now on our hood, it looks purple.
It looks purple. Yep. So I'm not even gonna push it from standstill because it'll slip out.
Thanks.
Right. But if I do a rolling start, you can feel that power, right?
Yes. Didn't seem like you were gonna stop.
We're stopping. I'm not gonna do it again. All right, that's it. But you could feel. Did you feel the bottom slip out from beneath you on the rear wheels?
Was I supposed to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When we started going sideways, you could feel that loss of traction.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. You got to be very careful.
Oh, okay.
With that, because if you keep flooring it, you're gonna go off the road.
But I feel like other vehicles do that too.
Not to this extent. Not
not race cars, not like this.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like my vehicle. It'll do that.
Man, I don't know how much power that vehicle has to do.
It doesn't. It's just when I'm trying to like act like I'm someone,
yeah,
you know?
You might be turning while you do that. We're going in a straight line.
Yeah.
And
that's not good.
We're losing traction in
Gotcha.
second and third, right? So you have to be, again, very careful. But this is an amazing piece of engineering. It really is. The fact that you could drive something like this every day is amazing. And then take it to the track, throw some slicks on it, and just let loose at the drag strip. The versatility is there, you know, you can't deny that. So I definitely understand why people would go after a car like the Charger Redeye, or, you know, the Hellcats in general. They're fun cars, very dangerous cars, but they're very fun cars as well. So Ishi, you have any closing thoughts?
I think it's a pretty cool car. You know, like you said, it's kind of multi-function. You can drive it on a daily basis without flooring it.
Right.
Or if you want to pick up some speed, you can take it out to the track. So it kind of serves two purposes, which is cool for especially someone, you know, who's looking for something that's affordable to have fun with.
Right, right.
So, you know, and I think the body style looks aggressive. Everybody knows this vehicle on
the
road.
Yeah.
Everybody looks at it. We've gotten several looks, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So that's our thoughts on that. Isha, I want to thank you for joining us during the driving session. See, I didn't go too hard in the throttle. Well, I think you might disagree, but you might disagree. But overall, this is a good car. If you're looking to just lay down some of the quickest quarter-mile times ever, this might be something to look at. Top speed of 203 miles per hour is respectable for sure. That is really fast. So overall, when it comes to performance, I don't know of too many cars that got 797 horsepower for under 100 grand. All right, with that being said, we'll go ahead and close out the review. So that was a brief overview of this 2021 Charger SRT Hellcat Redeye Widebody. The performance figures for the price is insane. So this is around $86,000, 0 to 60 in around 3.6 seconds, top speed of 203 miles per hour. This is an awesome machine. Definitely useful for those drag strips. What do you guys think about this vehicle? I'm loving this paintwork here, and I love the fact that it has 4 doors. So again, this is a sedan. You could actually carry other occupants with you. Is this something that you would consider buying? If you are, I definitely want to stress to you again, you got to go with the summer tires. This car deserves that type of rubber. Let me know what you guys think. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And until next time, I'm Ben Wayne, the automotive reviewer that YouTube deserves.